Neytiri's a full-blown racist in this movie. That's exactly, I was discussing it with Jim, and I think it was important for me to not run away from that for her.
Okay. Everything wrong with that statement. Zoe, what was that? I'll get into that in a bit. We're currently at the third Avatar movie. Apparently movies 2 and 3 were originally meant to be one film, which honestly went over a lot of people's heads, including mine. Still, that's not really my main issue. I have a bigger problem with the Avatar franchise, and I want to break it down properly. So let's talk about it. First things first, let's start with what Avatar does well. Visually, the movies are stunning. The attention to detail, the colors, the world building, all of that is incredible. Every time I watch an Avatar movie, I'm genuinely amazed by how Pandora looks. James Cameron and the whole creative team clearly put a lot of effort into the visuals, and I'll give them their credit for that. Zoe plays Neytiri incredibly well. When it comes to the spectacle, the whole casting absolutely delivers. But the plot, that's where things get unpretty. The first movie came out and felt fresh at the time. We hadn't really seen anything like it before, and it received a lot of praise. And yes, on the surface, the film seems self-critical. It looks like a story about humans versus the Na'vi. But let's be real about what that actually represents. In the real world, this is white people versus indigenous cultures, whether that's Native American, African, or other indigenous communities. The parallel is very clear. And that's where my problem starts. In the more recent Avatar films, the so-called home tribe, the Na'vi, ends up being led by a white man, Jake Sully, an ex-Marine turned Avatar. The story basically tells us that the tribe itself cannot fully protect or lead itself without a white savior stepping in. Meanwhile, the actual chief of the tribe somehow isn't enough on his own, but Jake is? On the surface, it feels like James Cameron is criticizing colonialism and white violence. He shows us that humans, red white colonizers, do horrible things, but if you look a little deeper, it also feels like he's comforting white audiences. The message becomes, yes, white people did bad things, but look, they also do good things. And while that might sound harmless, it ignores a much larger truth. Historically, white people have done far more harm than good to indigenous cultures. Colonization brought genocide, slavery, cultural erasure, forced religion, sexual violence, and the demonization of entire civilizations. That history doesn't get undone just because one white man chooses the right side. Then we have Spider. Spider is framed as a hero, even though his very existence, especially after he's able to breathe without a mask in Pandora, puts the Na'vi at risk. His DNA alone makes him a potential threat to the survival of an entire species, and somehow the narrative expects us to sympathize with him more than with the actual victims of colonization. This is where people start agreeing with Zoe Saldaña's statement that Neytiri is racist. But that statement is completely wrong. Neytiri isn't racist. She's protecting her people, her land, and her world. What is racist about defending your own survival? If I knew that one person's existence could lead to my people being completely wiped out or enslaved, I wouldn't hesitate either. Neytiri is reacting to trauma, invasion, and ongoing violence. She and the Na'vi are the victims here, not the humans. So we're not talking about racism here, we're talking about self-defense. And honestly, if Spider truly loved the Na'vi, he would have understood. He would have accepted his fate for the survival of Pandora. Jake already made it clear, humans want to colonize Pandora, no matter the cost. If that happens, the Na'vi will become foreigners on their own land. And this is where it gets even more uncomfortable. Spider is not only spared, not only framed as heroic, he is also symbolically rewarded. He is given access to sacred Na'vi spaces, including places tied to their ancestors and the souls of the deceased. Think about that for a second. Why would Spider, a human, have a place there? This is the most sacred spiritual realm of the Na'vi. This is not just land, it's memory, ancestry, and continuity. It's where their dead live on. Was saving Quaritch not enough? Was being centered as morally complex and sympathetic not enough? No. James Cameron makes the choice to fully insert the white man into every level of Na'vi existence, even their afterlife. This goes beyond aliens. This goes beyond coexistence. This is narrative entitlement. The Na'vi are not even allowed to have exclusive access to their own ancestors, their own spiritual realm, without a human being included. Jake Sully himself is also a very clear symbol of colonialism. Why does he introduce guns and weapons when they directly go against Na'vi culture, values, and their connection to nature? I understand that he wants to protect them, and yes, bows and arrows might not be enough against human technology, but that doesn't justify imposing foreign systems of violence onto an indigenous culture. You can't claim to respect the culture while reshaping it to fit your own logic. That once again is textbook colonial behavior. And it becomes even more uncomfortable when we realize that Jake never truly sees himself as Na'vi. This is confirmed later in the franchise. He's human, proud of it, and remains human, just inside a Na'vi body. So let me get this straight. He gets to inhabit the body of the colonized, benefit from their physical abilities, lead their people, and still center his own identity? That is wild. This is where bell hooks comes in. Bell hooks coins the term imperialist nostalgia, and that concept really helped me put my interpretation into words. What bell hooks means by imperialist nostalgia is this. It's when people mourn, romanticize, or long for cultures that imperialism itself has already destroyed, while refusing to take real responsibility for that destruction. It's the desire to be close to indigenous cultures, to consume their spirituality, aesthetics, and ways of life, without giving up power or undoing colonial harm. Avatar romanticizes indigenous cultures while still placing a white protagonist at the center of power and change. Indigenous difference becomes something beautiful, spiritual, and aesthetic, but mainly as a tool for white redemption. The Na'vi are not allowed to fully exist on their own terms. Their culture becomes a backdrop for Jake's moral journey. White authority is recentered, while colonial power structures remain intact. And this brings me to Jordan Peele's Get Out. Both Get Out and Avatar explore a similar idea. What happens when white people try to inhabit the bodies of people of color? Or minorities, as you want to put it. The difference is that Peele presents this idea as horrifying, as it should be. James Cameron, on the other hand, makes it look desirable. In Get Out, white characters want black bodies for their physical advantages while keeping their white consciousness and power. Avatar does the exact same thing with the Na'vi. Their strength, their connection to nature, their resilience, all while maintaining white control. If we look at history, this fantasy is terrifying. Colonization has never benefited indigenous people, only white colonizers. So when Cameron frames this idea as beautiful or aspirational, it raises serious questions. Why is this narrative celebrated? Why is Avatar one of the highest grossing franchises of all time, while Get Out was dismissed by some people as just a comedy? That alone should tell us a lot. Cameron is rewarded for this fantasy while Peele is mocked for exposing it. And to make matters worse, Avatar barely includes actors from African or Native American diasporas, even though those cultures clearly inspire the Na'vi. Yes, there are some Maori actors, but that's not enough. If you're borrowing from indigenous cultures, languages, and spiritual systems, then indigenous people should be meaningfully included, especially when you're making billions off the story. I can't speak for James Cameron's intentions. I do not know what's in his heart, but we live in a time where we are very aware of what we're doing and the messages we're sending. This is my interpretation of Avatar, and I think it's important that we stop accepting these stories at face value, no matter how beautiful they look. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, then please like and subscribe. And also leave a comment on what you think of this new movie. Did you like it? Did you not? Why? Why not? I would like to know and discuss with you. Peace.